Welcome to this inspiring story about the hidden power of thoughts and how they slowly shape the future of a person's life. Every action begins with a thought, every dream begins with an idea, and every success or failure often starts in the mind long before it appears in reality. In this story, you will discover how changing your thinking can completely change your direction in life. You will learn that positive thoughts create courage, confidence, and growth, while negative thoughts slowly build fear, doubt, and failure. This story will also help you improve your English fluency because it uses simple and meaningful language that is easy to understand and enjoyable to read. As you continue listening or reading, pay attention to the lessons hidden inside each moment. The biggest lesson is simple but powerful. Your future is created by the thoughts you repeat every single day. In a small and quiet town, there lived a person who constantly believed life was unfair. Every morning began with complaints, and every night ended with disappointment. Whenever something difficult happened, the mind immediately said, "Nothing good ever happens to me." Slowly, this thought became stronger than reality itself. Opportunities appeared, but fear destroyed them before they could grow. Dreams existed, but doubt killed them before action could begin. Even simple challenges felt impossible because the mind had already decided failure would happen. Days passed like dark clouds moving through the sky, and the future looked empty and hopeless. Other people tried to give advice and encouragement, but negative thinking acted like a locked door that refused to open. The strange thing was that life did not become difficult overnight. It became difficult little by little, thought by thought, fear by fear, until the person could no longer imagine success at all. One evening, after another disappointing day, the person sat alone near a quiet road while watching people pass by with energy and confidence. Some were laughing, some were working hard, and others were moving toward goals with excitement. A question suddenly appeared in the mind. Why do some people continue growing while others remain stuck for years? That question stayed deeply inside the heart. For the first time, instead of blaming the world, the person became curious. Later that night, while cleaning an old shelf filled with forgotten books, a small notebook fell to the ground. Inside the notebook were simple sentences written many years earlier during childhood dreams. One sentence said, "I will build a successful and meaningful life." Another sentence said, "I will become stronger every day." Reading those words felt strange because they sounded hopeful, brave, and full of life. The person realized something painful but important. Long ago, the mind used to believe in possibilities, but over the years, fear and negativity slowly replaced hope. That night became the beginning of change. The person decided to try a simple experiment. Instead of starting the morning with negative thoughts, the mind would begin with positive words. The next day, after waking up, the person quietly said, "Today can become better." It felt uncomfortable and unnatural at first because negative thinking had become a habit for many years. But despite the discomfort, the person repeated those words again and again. During the day, whenever problems appeared, the mind tried to replace fear with possibility. Instead of saying, "I cannot do this," the person said, "I will learn how to do this." Instead of thinking, "I always fail," the person thought, "Every mistake teaches me something valuable." The change was small, almost invisible, but something inside slowly began to feel lighter. Weeks passed, and the person noticed that thoughts were directly affecting actions. On days filled with hope, energy became stronger and work became easier. On days filled with fear, even simple tasks felt heavy. This realization changed everything. The person finally understood that thoughts were not just random voices inside the mind. Thoughts were powerful instructions shaping behavior, decisions, confidence, and direction. A negative mind searched for problems, while a positive mind searched for opportunities. A fearful mind avoided risks, while a hopeful mind continued growing despite failure. Slowly, the person became more careful about what was allowed to stay inside the mind each day. One morning, while walking through the town, the person saw an elderly man planting small trees beside a dusty road. Curious, the person asked why he was planting trees that would take many years to grow. The old man smiled gently and replied, "The future is built long before people can see it." Those words stayed deeply in the heart. Thoughts were exactly like seeds. A person who plants fear, doubt, anger, and negativity every day will eventually grow a painful future. But a person who plants discipline, confidence, patience, and hope will slowly create a beautiful life. The problem was that most people focus only on visible results while ignoring the invisible thoughts creating those results every day. From that moment, the person became serious about protecting the mind. Negative conversations were avoided. Endless complaining slowly disappeared. Time spent with hopeless thinking became shorter each day. Instead, the person began reading motivational books, listening to inspiring ideas, and spending time with positive people who believed growth was possible. At first, others laughed at this sudden change. Some people said it would never last. Others believed positive thinking was useless. But the person continued anyway because something important had already been discovered. The mind becomes stronger or weaker depending on what it repeatedly consumes. Months later, life slowly started changing in surprising ways. Confidence improved. Communication became better. Fear no longer controlled every decision. The person began trying new opportunities that once seemed impossible. Small successes appeared first. Then bigger improvements followed. It was not magic, and it did not happen overnight. The real transformation came from changing thoughts consistently every single day. The person realized that success is not created in one moment. It is created through repeated thinking patterns that shape repeated actions over time. One difficult day, however, failure returned unexpectedly. A major opportunity disappeared, and disappointment filled the heart again. For a moment, old negative thoughts tried to return. The mind whispered, "See, nothing changes." But this time something was different. Instead of accepting that thought as truth, the person challenged it. "One failure does not decide my future." That sentence became powerful. The person understood that positive thinking does not mean life becomes perfect. It means the mind refuses to surrender during difficult moments. True strength is not avoiding problems, but continuing forward despite them. As the years passed, the person became completely different from the hopeless individual sitting beside the quiet road long ago. The future that once looked dark now felt full of possibility. New goals replaced old fears. Confidence replaced doubt. Gratitude replaced endless complaints. Most importantly, the person understood one life-changing truth. The future is not created suddenly. It is created thought by thought, choice by choice, day by day. Many people spend years waiting for life to improve while continuing to think negatively every day. They hope for success while constantly imagining failure. They want confidence while feeding fear inside the mind. But life often reflects the thoughts repeated most consistently. Thoughts influence emotions, emotions influence actions, and actions create results. This invisible cycle shapes the direction of every human life. That is why protecting your thoughts is one of the most important responsibilities you have. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One person thinks, "This problem will destroy me." The other thinks, "This challenge will make me stronger." Both people experience the same situation, but their thoughts create completely different futures. One stops moving forward, while the other continues learning and growing. This is the hidden power of thinking. The mind can become your greatest weapon or your biggest prison depending on how you train it. In the end, the person returned to the same quiet road where everything once felt hopeless. But this time, the view looked different. The world had not magically changed overnight. The biggest change happened inside the mind. The person finally understood that thoughts are like the steering wheel of life. Wherever thoughts consistently go, actions eventually follow. And where actions go repeatedly, the future begins to form. Standing there peacefully, the person smiled and remembered the lesson learned through years of struggle. Your thoughts create your future long before the future arrives. So always remember this powerful lesson. Speak positively about yourself. Protect your mind from constant negativity. Believe growth is possible even when progress feels slow. Your life tomorrow is being shaped by your thinking today. Every hopeful thought plants a seed for a better future, and every strong belief builds the courage needed to continue forward. The future you dream about begins inside your mind first. Change your thoughts, and slowly you will change your entire life.